Steve, for that? See? Well.
Sir. Steph, how you doing?
You got back.
All right, good evening. Mayor, Mr. Brad Core asked to say a few words before we get started with the committees.
Thank you, Mayor. Before we begin, congratulations to our new mayor and council members. Important matters will be presented to this council to decide upon, which will affect the sustainability of our city and the citizens we represent. Recognizing that we're governed by the Larson Act, an extensive code of ordinances, and ethics rules for elected officials, I refer to these documents often and suggest becoming familiar with them. The Louisiana Municipal Association will hold its annual conference in Baton Rouge next month. Numerous seminars will be presented involving city government, and I highly recommend attending. In closing, it is imperative that we work together to move our city forward. I believe this can be accomplished if we are provided with the information needed to make informed decisions. Mayor Chad Monso has assured me of this, and I greatly appreciate his efforts. Thank you.
Yeah, can I elaborate on what Councilman Core just said?
Go ahead, sir.
Brad, I appreciate you bringing it up, because I've been getting calls from people down there as well, asking what Crowley gonna do? And it's strictly that, what Crowley's gonna do. And I told them, me and the mayor talked, and I appreciate the fact that he understands the fact that knowledge is power. And the LMA is there for us to learn, for us to understand not only the Larson Act, but even give you want to sit in the home rule charter, mayor's court is there. Okay? So I appreciate the fact that you brought that up, and I'm hoping that's the only thing that this job requires is personal time. Everything else falls where it falls. What I mean by personal time is that you have to take personal time to go to these trainings. They have them all over the state, okay? Whether it's a round table training or what seminar. But once again, knowledge is power. I just want to say thank you for that. And Mayor, thank you as well.
Roger, Steph. And they will have the ethics 1 hour mandatory class
Exactly.
they'll have to take during the conference as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you all. Public Works, Mr. Jeff Dorey.
Thank you, Mayor. This is, okay. I'll open Public Works. First report is from Public Works Director Albert John.
What's up, Chief?
Good afternoon.
And I personally would like to congratulate the mayor and the new council and wish everybody a happy new year. I'll be brief. We don't have any equipment down right now. Everything is running. My mechanic isn't on vacation until Tuesday. He will be back. We are through with mosquitoes as of right now. We did spray one night last month on the 9th. So, that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?
That's it. Thank you, Albert. I appreciate
You're
that.
welcome. Thank you.
Then the next item is the street commissioner, Gilbert on the scene.
Good evening. And like I would say, congratulations to y'all. For the old councils, I don't have nothing new to report. But to the new ones, I just want to explain to you what I report every month, if it's all right with y'all, you know. Basically, the monthly report is installing culverts, washing out pipes, etc. Cutting the grass, the interstate, and the islands, and the bridges, the parks, and all the neutral ground. We pick up some trash and debris to a certain amount in certain areas. We're not picking areas, but we try to leave that for the parish, because that's their responsibility. But we help out the parish, you know, once in a while. Basically, that's about it, you know. And if you have any questions.
Step?
Gil, you get a chance, Tim, I don't know if you had a chance, I don't know if you had a chance to go down, 9th Street, the area where we had talked about 9th and, B.
Yeah, it was, center point. I put a barricade right there,
Okay,
a big drum barrel.
okay, well, between C and, B and C, you seen that
Right.
hole?
And they were supposed to go out there and fix it.
Okay, well, I think this year we're gonna need to get with Centerpoint or whoever that's doing any work on the streets that, they have to come up with some type of, chief, that you're gonna be involved in that as well, with some type of safety measure. Okay, Tim, did you get a chance to see how deep that hole was? Well, what we say, about 1.5 feet, Gil?
It was 3.5 feet by 2 feet wide and long.
But how deep? About, how, 6?
About 6 inches.
Well, it's a little more than that. It's that
Yeah.
same one we're looking at. But
Yeah.
anyway, they're leaving these things open. And I know that time is money and whatever.
I'm not defending, I'm not.
Oh, no,
I'm not
no.
defending Centerpoint, but what happened is, it's right at the edge of the road.
Right,
And the car runs in it, and it pushes to the ditch.
right.
That's basically what happened.
Yeah, but even to that point, if they
Right.
put the proper barricade there, I remember at one time we had done, Tim, I know you remember this, when we done the work on First Street, First Street and Parks, they had this big metal,
Plate.
flat, you know what I'm talking
Metal
about?
plate, right.
Well, they need to invest in that.
Right.
Okay, I mean, I don't know what they cost or what have you, but, because that was a dangerous situation. And as soon as you left that, maybe 10, 15 feet, that's when you had to dip into the road.
Right.
So if we can be proactive, with that, I think, I don't know if the city has those, and it's not our responsibility.
But we help out any way we can, you know,
Right.
solve a hazardous place.
Right. But, this year, if we can, man, let's look into that, because that could have been a dangerous situation.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir, and keep doing a good job.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Gilbert? If not, thank you, Gilbert.
Thank you.
All right, third item is, city engineer, Mr. Tim Mayer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe you all have a copy of my engineer's report. And I'd like to turn your attention to, first on page 4 is where we'll talk about the street contracts, contract A and contract B. I think it's in order for me to ask you at the outset to add an action item to the agenda that I didn't have enough information. When I sent the agenda out yesterday before the deadline. So I'd like to add a number 5 to the Public Works Committee agenda, and it's going to be a cooperative endeavor agreement with Katy Parish Police Steward regarding Hoyt Avenue.
I'll offer that.
Second. It's been offered, and we have a second. Any questions, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed?
Okay, I'll cover that at the end of
Okay.
the action items. The first action item will be to approve partial payment estimate number 13 to Glenn Leger Construction for the contract A citywide street improvements project. At the bottom of page 4, you'll see the action that I want you to consider. The status of the project as of December 25th, contract was 94% complete by time, 64% complete by cost, and we have partial payment estimate number 13 at a total value of work done through that date at $4,340,038.87. We will withhold $217,001.94 for labor and material liens retainage, and the total amount due will be $1,032,861.73. And I offer that for your approval as item 1 under contract date.
I got a question on that, Mr. Chair. Who was the chair?
Motion.
We needed a motion to accept this.
I got a question on that. Chair, before I'll make the motion, but I got a question. Tim, in our district, who's doing that work? Is this the same company that's doing the work?
Yeah, Glenn Leger has both contracts, contract A and contract B. Your contract, your district mainly will be in contract B.
Okay. Now, this partial payment that you're giving right here, is that what contract A or contract B?
Contract A.
Okay. All right, well, I'll offer that motion.
That offer, is there a second?
Second.
Offer and a second. Anyone opposed? Anyone for it? All in favor? Okay. It passes.
Under contract A, I also have a contract change order that would grant a time extension of 90 days to Glenn Leger. I have passed out to you this document, several pages, that explains that change order. In fact, if you look at the last page in the handout of 3 pages, there's a letter from Glenn Leger Construction which requests the time extension. We're going to offer the same request for contract B in a moment. I'll read you the letter. Glenn Leger Construction respectfully requests a time extension of 90 days on both contracts A and B to compensate the delays incurred due to a combination of limestone shortages and the unusually low levels of navigable waterways. The time extension will allow us to continue our current progress on both contract A and B. To date, we are approximately 65% complete on both projects, and have struggled through material shortages to complete the paving of over 70,000 tons of asphalt throughout the city. We appreciate your cooperation in this matter and will continue to provide a quality product. So that letter is going to apply as the basis to consider both time extensions A and B. So I ask that you consider it for contract A at this time.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah, let me add to that, in this particular change order, there's also adding a pay item to furnish and install mountable barrier curves in an area where there was no pay item for that from the start. So that's part of the same change order, and I'll explain that in a minute.
And Tim, where will that be, the mountable curve?
I'm pretty sure it's in the district east of Farquharson and south of Hutchinson.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
that'll conclude action on contract A. We'll go to contract B. It starts at the top of page 5. Although the way it reads, it appeared that we might have an additional pay item for contract B. That's not the case. For contract B, I only have a 90-day extension to ask for your consideration. And it's the same letter that applies that I read to you to grant Glenn Leger that time extension of 90 days, which, by the way, will land both contracts to be completed on April 26th of 2023.
A motion?
I have a
Councilman
question,
Brad,
too.
Second.
and a second from Sandy. All in favor? Oh, you want some discussion?
I just want to ask a question.
Yeah, I got a couple
You
of my
mentioned that there's no additional work on that particular,
Right, we didn't need an additional pay item for that contract.
okay, and so that's item number 4? That you're
Yes,
referring to?
item number 4.
So leave that from
Mr. Chair.
What discussion, Scott?
No, I'm ready to finish.
Yes, sir.
Tim, Chuck, I'm just gonna concentrate on 7th Street right now. And we'll talk about the avenues. Just for the public that might have a question, why would unnavigable waterways come into this? It's obvious they ship in limestone by water, correct?
That's what they said, yes.
So, and I'm just asking the question here. You know, those saying if you can't bring it one way, you get it another way. I'd like to meet with you and whoever the owner of the business is, because that's the question I just need to ask. I understand time, I mean, being in the business, I understand materials and all the rest of that, but there's a few questions I would like to get Byron. I'll get with you and we'll put something together here. But anyway, I just have some questions on time. Thank you.
Chair, one brief question.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, regarding the warranty period, after the project is completed, the warranty will become in effect that date. So even though we're extending the time for the completion date, the 1-year warranty following completion of the project will cover all the streets that have been, and work that's been done by the contractor.
Yes, sir, the warranty will begin the date that you file acceptance in the courthouse.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions? The motion passes.
Aye.
Any opposed to it? No?
The item 5 that we had on the agenda, I'm going to give you a little sketch here that'll help us understand what it's all about. We were asked earlier this week to consider, this request came from the police jury, to consider including a section of White Avenue that lies adjacent to the corporate limits and right outside the corporate limits. The map that I'm showing you, that I passed out is a Bayou Bend golf course. I've indicated that on the map, the clubhouse, White Avenue as it winds its way south. And in yellow is that portion of White Avenue that is not within the corporate limits. Of course, east of that yellow highlight is in the corporate limits, and we're about to patch and overlay that. South of that yellow highlight is in the corporate limits, and we're about to patch and overlay that. Police jury would like the city to consider a cooperative endeavor agreement whereby the city would allow that to be done in its contract, and they would pay for the cost of construction and engineering. The estimated cost for that, it's around 900 feet of road, as I recall, and we're estimating the cost, which depends on the level of patching, how deep patches have to go, we pay by the ton of asphalt. We're estimating in between $25,000 and $30,000 to do that stretch that's in yellow on the map. My understanding is that it will be brought up before the police jury next Wednesday at their regular January meeting, and if they authorize the president and you authorize the mayor at the same time, then we'll go forward with that.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
You know, I don't think I got to partial payment for contract B. I skipped that inadvertently. So back on page 5 at the top, as of December 25th, contract was 89% complete by time, 62% complete by cost, and the partial payment number 8 has the total value of work done through that date at $6,179,654.65. The amount of $308,982.73 is withheld for labor and material liens, and so the total amount due this estimate is $338,904.06, and I would ask you to please consider approving that partial payment already.
I offer, I have a question.
Second.
Offer the second. And a question.
Tim, you saying that both contracts gonna be finished in April? Is that what you're saying?
By granting 90 days, yes, sir.
With your professional opinion, you think that can be done?
Well, I think it's very possible to be done. It's going to count on good weather. It's going to count on the contractor devoting his equipment and manpower and resources to it. Yes, it's possible to do it based on what we know he can accomplish in a week's time.
Well, no, I'm sorry. One of the problems that I have, that I've been inundated with, is where are they? I'm pretty sure, I don't know how it's going in your district, but that's one of the questions I'm asking, I'm pretty sure we get the same question, where are they? Was that 3 months from the date? Okay. Tim, if you can set up a meeting, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, sure thing. It's 3 months from January 26th.
No, from January 26th.
Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. And all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
All right, I believe I covered 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and that's all I have for action in the Public Works Committee Engineers Report.
Okay. Do I go back and read all of these notes? The action items over here?
No, we done.
No, we done?
You say there's nothing else?
That's it. If there's no other questions, I will close the meeting.
All right, utility, Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. Utilities Committee, it's in full swing. We got quorum, Mr. President. Tim Craig. Get slow there, bro.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Congratulations to the new council. Welcome back the older members. Congratulations, Mayor. A couple of quick things. During the month of December, we had a total of 396 Louisiana one-call locate requests. Of those, 235 of them were updated tickets, which were called in by the local contractors that are doing work here in town. 144 of those were new locate requests. There were 38 work orders filed during the month, 9 after hour calls. As of the date, we will begin cleaning and televising the sewer line for a new, a current lift station system that's currently not on our SCADA system, which will benefit the restroom facility at the Tony Robichaud's Storage Complex. That work will start probably tomorrow. TV in the line, make sure that it's adequate for the amount of people that will be using that facility. That station, once it's, it hadn't been on the system prior to me, but whatever reasons, they chose not to put it there. We are upgrading that system and putting it on our SCADA system so we can better monitor the flow during the weekends. We're currently accepting job applications at our at the job service office downtown for vacancies we have at our department. I want to thank the guys for doing what they do. No one really realizes what's happening until you knee deep in water. I want to wish Tommy Millett, recently retired. I want to wish him the best as he goes forward. Other than that, anybody has any questions? One other thing, our facility is open. If you'd like to tour our facility or know more about our facility, give me a call and set something up. Just a brief thing, we have 17 lift stations in our city, and all that water comes to us at the plant. 99.9% water, so it's not what you would think.
And you'll take a sample and taste it for us.
I'll wait till June and I'll bring that to you. I'll show you what's happening with that. I am proud of our treatment facility there because we do put out good quality water into the environment. Any questions?
But I just want to say, I get a lot of calls from people in the city. They're always saying, he called me, he called the wrong person. I'm just an author boy, you gotta call the Pope. And I just have to tell y'all, not one time have I ever had any type of complaint on what they do. They're always on time, and I've had complaints about we couldn't do this, that, and the other. But say keep the work up.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, City Engineer Tim May.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only action item I have in the Utility Committee is on page 17, begins on page 17, where you see the left gap in the left margin, item number 9, the LCDBG fiscal year 2020, 2021 project. The action is on the next page, page 18. Regarding partial payment estimate number 7, I have the blanks there, thinking that we would have a partial payment. In talking with the contractor, representatives of the contractor, they didn't complete enough work for us to prepare one, so they agreed to no partial payment estimate this month. So there's no action required for partial payment number 7 at this time. Do have items 2 and 3 in my report. I believe they are I don't see it in my packet.
You want me to read it to me?
Yeah, I have 2 resolutions. I just needed an item number. I'll get right there. Yeah, it's item 2 and 3 regarding the LCDBG project. I think you have copies of the resolution in your packet. The resolutions. First resolution It's just a matter of the transition from the past administration to the current administration to have new signees on some of the forms that would have to be submitted for pay requests, et cetera. First resolution would grant the authority to Mayor Chad Monson to sign and submit all necessary documents in connection with the City of Crowley's fiscal year 21 LCDBG program.
Offered. Give me a second.
I'll second.
It was offered and second. Any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Second resolution is also in your packet, and this authorizes 4 signees for request for payment forms under that same Community Development Block Grant Program. If you look in the middle of the page, you'll see that the 4 signees that we suggested would be the mayor, the mayor pro tem, the finance committee chairman, and the city clerk. We named the mayor, Chad Monson, we named the finance committee chairman, Dickie Latchley, and city clerk, Glenn Dorr. We would want to fill in the mayor pro tem if the council's wishes is to have that person be the 4th signee.
Make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
Oh, I did mention that it's further resolved that Chairman Monk is authorized to witness and certify the above mentioned city officials. It's LCDBG's way of I guess, making sure everything's done and that everybody's aware of what's being done, checks and balances.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Those at the same right? Motion carried.
That's all the items I have for council action under the utility.
Okay. Anything else coming for utilities? We recess.
All right, recreation, Chuck Ash.
We'll open up the Recreation Department committee with the director of Mr. Peter Kirsch.
Good afternoon. There we go.
I did it on purpose.
Congratulations. Happy New Year. I talked too much. I didn't want to go on. Happy New Year. Congratulations. Looking forward to working with everyone. Hope everyone had a great holiday. The holidays for us was just a brief pause. New year, new challenges, new projects, new programs, newfound resources, all of the above. We're very excited to start the new year. Our youth basketball program has begun. Practices began last week. Our youth basketball program showed a growth this year by 20 kids over last year's program. So we're very excited about that. And that's the trend that we've seen with all of our programs over the last calendar year. We're still trending up. Our roller skating program, which is still trending up, will resume this Friday at the Martin Luther King Center from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Again, it's a free event for all those who want to attend. Our baseball, softball registration began last week and will remain open through February 11th. I want everybody to remember that. We have a busy schedule. We have a full calendar. I bring it up because that's a 7-week window that we left registration open for families this year. And we will not be able to accept any late registration this year. We are up against a hard deadline. So I want to put it out there early. You got 7 weeks. Let's get it done. Let's get it done early, and we can start moving forward. Baseball day this year is scheduled for Saturday, April 1st. I'm sorry, not February 1st, April 1st. We have formed our own junior high and softball baseball league this year. We're splitting away from the Lafayette Broussard. We kind of got sent what was left over. So we formed our own this year. We have schools signed up in Crowley, Rain, Iota, Kinder, Mamu, Church Point, and Eunice, and we're still waiting on others in surrounding areas. We're also bringing back our junior varsity baseball league this year. Like I said, we have a full calendar of events. It's not just tournaments. Tournaments will start February 25th. Every weekend is booked through mid-July. This year, there will also be opportunities at Miller Stadium this year that you, if you want, and we'd love to have you, you can get here at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday morning and stay to 10 p.m. and catch anywhere from 3 to 4 college and high school baseball games in a day. Our restroom bids are still set to be received on January 19th, and hopefully construction will begin on the 20th. It's a joke, Tim. Mayor. It's not funny, it's serious. Really excited about that. I'd like to thank Tim Crater and the wastewater crew. He thought he stole my thunder, but I won't be outdone. He's really put a lot of foresight. He's already ordered new pumps for the lift station. He's already started to take care of the software that's going to go into the lift station that his department will be able to monitor remotely. And then basically, he didn't find out anything was wrong until I called him and said, hey, why is it not flowing out? But thanks to Tim, we'll be up to date. We'll be operating in the 21st century, and we'll keep things moving down the line. That's it for me. Any questions?
All right, with the skating, I guess, Chief, I don't know, would that be in your purview or what? We have security out there with skating?
We're gonna try it, yes. We had, previous, we had a reserve that was working, but I'll get with them and see to make sure we can have somebody out there this Friday. If not, I'll go myself.
Well, if money is an issue, we'll come up with the money to pay.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be an issue for the.
Well, I'm just saying,
security. It's
because
not one.
there's a lot going on in this city with these kids. We want to make sure that they're safe. But whatever it takes, we want to make sure we have security out there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Kirsch.
Thank you.
City Engineer, Mr. Tim?
Nothing further.
All right, well, this committee will rest.
Thank you, sir. Zoning and annexation, Mr. Sammy Reggie.
Thank you. Zoning Annexation Committee will convene. All members are present. Under reports, Mr. Tim Mayer.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have nothing further, but I want to take this opportunity to say that ordinarily, but for the newer council members, I will stay for committees through the Public Works, Utility, Zoning, Annexation, and Recreation. The rest of the committees usually don't involve anything that I'm doing with the city, but if you need me to hang around for any of those, Chairman, I'd be happy to do that. Just let me know. If you see me get up and you don't want me to leave, I'll tell the chief of police to let me know. But I have nothing further. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Under action items, to approve the request for rezoning from Third Court Properties LLC at lots 6, 7, 8, and 9, rezoned from R4 to I1 upon favorable recommendation of Crowley Planning Commission, and I so move.
Second.
Second by Mr. Martin. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. And I have no discussion items. Anything else to come before zoning and annexation? I'll recess.
Public Safety, Mr. Brad Core.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to call to order the Public Safety Committee. All members are present, and we have a quorum. The reports, we will begin with Chief of Police, Troy Bear.
Thank you. The total calls for the month of December was 763. In Zone 1, which is West Crowley, we had 315 calls. Zone 2, that's East Crowley, we had 270 calls. And in Zone 3, South Crowley, we had 178 calls. We had 46 TED citations, 20 moving violations, with 19 other, meaning crashes or criminal charges. Cases involving firearms, we had 19. We had 3 juvenile arrests with 2 juvenile victims. We had 13 domestic abuse cases and 27 burglaries. We currently are still continuing investigating 44 cases. That will conclude the report for December. questions?
Chief, can you address the recent fireworks
Yes.
and what's your plan going forward?
We have received a bunch of firework complaints over the past several days. Moving forward, we're going to be more proactive in that area. We're going to be enforcing at a larger amount. We gave a ton of breaks this time, but due to as many calls as we've been getting, it's time to crack down a little harder on it. So we're not going to be as forgiving this time.
Thank you, Chief. Any other questions, Chief?
Just got one, Brian.
Mr. Martin?
What is the ordinance as far as fireworks in the city?
But you can't pop them in the city at all.
Okay, so there's no way but, as far as 4th of July and everything else like that, just a dead issue, no, can't do it.
Correct. Unless you change the ordinance.
Okay. Well, the question was brought up and they said, well, why are they selling fireworks? We can't pop. So I don't know if we have, well, that's outside of the city. The places where the fireworks are selling, they're all outside the city, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be a police issue.
Correct.
Okay, that's that long, thank you.
Step one, I was also considering maybe if you can get with the police jury and maybe have their establishments that are located near the city of Crowley, maybe put some signage up to indicate that fireworks cannot be discharged within the city limits of Crowley.
Well, I mean, that could be put at, believe it or not, if they were 10 feet outside the city limits, we could put the sign 10 feet from them. You know, just like, do not enter, do not pop fireworks. You know? I mean, I'm not trying to be funny, but that's basically, that's our ordinance.
Right.
And I don't know if we have to give it to police jury or what to let the persons that come in to get a permit to sell, that they do come in front of the city, the council, you know, and let us explain to them what's going on. I know they probably won't have to do it, but I think it would be a good MOU with them. You understand? Let them know, okay, you're probably selling fireworks outside the city limits, but you need to let your people know you cannot pump them inside the city limits.
Right.
I don't know if that would be a legal basis to ask or what, but our ordinance is our ordinance. And the police jury, nobody else can change that but this governing body. So I'm glad that you're talking, I mean, you're going to be counting it down and doing what needs to be done, because the other day, man, I thought it was at war. I ain't never seen fireworks go off like that. They're making them big and they're making them powerful.
And the calls increased dramatically. I mean, it was, it stayed growing, all of, just running back and forth from firework call, something needs to be done.
Well, the crazy part, I watched it, and if it didn't burn for at least a minute or two, they shot up. Things just kept firing up. So it's a good idea, because I know the fire departments had called on call. I can imagine what they were going through. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Step. Anything other further for Chief? Thank you, Chief. Next, we'll move to Fire Chief Louis Romero. Okay, so he's absent.
Yeah, he's at a meeting in Baton Rouge.
Okay. I'll probably move on to City Inspector Tony Duhon.
Good afternoon. I'd like to copy congratulations on the one.
Well, I spoke loud enough. Good afternoon. I'd like to copy the congratulations on the election. So I'm going to give you a little report on our department, starting with animal control. Total number of complaints / calls, starting with 15 calls for dead animals, unfortunately. Calls for cat issues were 20, 55 calls for dogs, 2 animal cruelty investigations, 1 dog bite, and a call for snake. Right now, we have a total of 21 dog intakes intakes, which they confiscated and brought in-house. Out of those, we rehomed 15. On cats, there were 12 intakes, and there were 5 cats that were rehomed. We had 2 citations that were given with different charges. He didn't say what the charges were. Total animals that are in the shelter now, 12 cats, 13 dogs. There were 9 cats that were spaded. Moving on to the code enforcement department, unfortunately, I don't have any information on that. At this time, they were upgrading our department's computer. But I do have a list for the permit department. We had a total of 28 permits for the month of December. 20 were electrical, 3 were gas, 1 pool permit, and 4 repairs. In the zoning department, we verified 4 zoning verifications, and we had a zone change, which was on the agenda tonight for Third Court. Any further questions?
Thank you, Mr. DeLong.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming. Now we move on to action items. Action item number 1, to consider the following 2023 beer and liquor licenses for Tales and Ale, represented by Waylon Daigle, location 412 Oddfellows Road, for a 2023 Class A retail beer permit and a 2023 Class A retail liquor permit, and I so move. Seconded, Alderwoman Marks. Discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, right.
I'm sorry, yeah.
She's not on.
She's not on the
Oh,
committee.
sorry,
So,
I just noticed.
Mr. Wilder, do you second it? Yeah, it's easy to do. Okay, with that said, all in favor? Any opposed? And note for the record that Sammy Reggie abstains. Thank you. Under discussion items, Mr. Alawi Muthana of Fat Boys and Mr. Clay Lejeune would like to discuss the application for a 2023 beer and liquor license. I believe Mr. Clay Lejeune is here, their representative and attorney.
Mr. Mayor, Chief, Councilman, I appreciate the opportunity to speak today. My understanding is that during the 2022 year, Fat Boys applied for an application for the 2023 liquor license. That was denied. And then upon the election of the council, resubmitted an application which is still pending at this juncture. Recognizing that there are several interests at stake here, both public safety, the issues of the police department, individuals' right to make a living, earn a profit for himself and his family, and even those issues that may be presented with the state liquor license, that we have some conflicts. Mr. Muthana and his family who own the property have taken certain steps which they think can alleviate some of the concerns by posting the loitering signs. They have 24-hour video monitoring, which they can make available to the police if there are issues. And during high traffic times, they've even between 4 and 8 have even put a private security or off-duty officer on site. What we're here for is to recognize those interests of the police department, see what else we can do to earn the respect and the permitting by the city. We recognize that there have been some issues in the past. Primarily, those issues have been less than well-defined, but there were loitering. Loitering is something that is difficult to control, because by definition, it's difficult to determine when somebody is loitering. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes may become a problem. But to the extent that this has become an issue, we need no loitering signs, and the on-duty guard can move them on. Drugs obviously have been a problem, not just at that location, but in that entire area. So we can certainly, and Mr. Thana and his family can certainly encourage people to move on, but it's very difficult for us to control what individuals are doing. They're obviously not, selling drugs or alcohol. What we're asking for is tell us what we did wrong with some specificity so that we can address them. If the council has concerns that they can enumerate, then we can attack each individual concern by discussion with some of the members of the council and my clients. When is calling too much? When is calling not enough? There have been opportunities to call where it seems almost a nuisance to call, but then in the failure to call and somebody gets hurt, and then the reflection is, well, you should have called. And so in balancing that, if we can have some rules, my clients are being more than willing to comply with the rules set by the city council. Certain rules have been established by the state. The state has granted that license. The city is denying the license, which they certainly have the right to do, but there really hasn't. Again, we generally understand that the Bad Boys area and the things that have kind of stemmed from the parking lot were a concern for the council and for the police department, which it should be. And they're not trying to deny that. We're really looking for the steps that they can take to rectify the council's concerns, earn their trust. I think that trust is probably the biggest word here. Maybe they have lost the trust of the council, but they still have that right to earn a living. If the council were to tell them what steps they needed to take so that they can be an active part of the policing of their store, then we'd be happy to comply. And we'd ask that before there's a denial of the pending application, that there be some consideration. I spoke directly with Mr. Core, who I believe is the chairman of this committee, and would be more than willing to sit down with him and his committee members at any time to see what we can do to work out a mapable plan and present it to the council.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Martin?
Well, first of all, Mr. Cole is the chairman of public safety, but it's me, Environment District. Did he talk to you about it? Well, he called me. Is there a reason why you didn't call me?
Mr. Steph?
Yeah.
I can be very honest with you. Yesterday afternoon, about 5 o'clock, the other attorney who works for me resigned to go to greener pastures, and I picked up this file at about 12 o'clock this morning, and I know one person individually who happens to be the chairman. I have his cell phone because he had shared it with me, and I called him. And more so, not to ask for anything, but generally, procedurally, where do we stand? Because, to be honest with you, I didn't know at that point in time procedurally where we stood. I didn't ask Mr. Core for any favors. I certainly wouldn't ask you for any favors in this regard. I would, as I would present to any court or any forum, tell me what I can do to help.
Okay. When did he call you, Martin?
Me and Brad had a conversation. I didn't talk to Mr. Cole.
When was this conversation?
This been going on for at least a month, right?
Damn, bro. I got people all the way from Washington, D.C. calling me. They have my personal cell phone, and you couldn't call City Hall to find out what Steph Martin's cell phone was? Well, with that being said, let me tell you something, young man. had a young lady come up here, was it last year, year before last, she made all kind of promises, what was gonna be done, this, that, and the other, okay? And I was one of the ones that made the comment that I don't believe in taking jobs from anybody, okay? You just made a statement about whether you call too many times, whether you become a nuisance or what have you. When somebody's breaking the law, one time or 100 times doesn't matter. If they're breaking the law, that's the job. Promises were made here, and I remember the young lady here, oh man, she made cornbread and rice and everything else, all flavor, letting us know what was gonna be done and everything else. Next thing we know, she's gone. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm very offended. I am, you know, I'm very offended.
I certainly don't offend you, but I wasn't here when that lady was there.
Well, I'm not talking about the lady. I'm not talking about, I don't know how long you've been representing, and where is these people? The persons. Well, come on up here, man. Say hello to us. I need to meet you.
Mr. Martin, you raised an issue about breaking the law, and that's what I've asked the council. What laws have the owners of Fat Boy broken? That is a concern. We are willing to police or assist the policing of that area because we and they want to be active members of this community.
I understand that.
This young lady who made promises, I don't know her.
Well, they know her. She represented them, but even to that point, let me make this clear to you. Okay, first of all, they were saying, you're not sorry until you get caught. Okay, that's first of all. You asked for a report on how many discrepancies or how many violations there were there. We have a new chief. I'm pretty sure he'd be glad to sit down with you and talk to you. Okay? When their license came up for renewal, unless they were in the audience, that I don't remember seeing these people.
He did come speak, Mr. Martin.
Well,
He did.
Well, he did. Well, I don't remember. Okay? I don't remember. So if he did, so be it. But listen, I happen to be a member of St. Teresa Catholic Church. I mean, I know the separation between church and state, so I'm not going to go into that. I get all kinds of complaints about what's going on over there. I've actually sat down outside your facility and watch alcohol being sold after hours. The little window that you have right there. Oh, you can shake your head, but I mean, I saw it. I don't need proof. This is proof. Well, I know you're going to say you never did.
Excuse me, perhaps this would be the discussion, as Mr. Lejeune wanted to meet with certainly you, Step, and Byron, and the property owner. That might be the best time for that.
Well, I'm just saying, as far as I'm concerned, it ain't happening.
And, Mr. Martin, look, I would like to hear the concerns of St. Teresa's.
I'm not, first of all, I'm not representing St. Teresa. I want to make that clear. I just mentioned that. I'm not putting St. Teresa in any conversation that we're having. I just said I am a member of it, okay? I just wanted to, through transparency, okay? But I will tell you this right here, all right? I have watched, you name it, on that parking lot.
Again, that's what if you tell me what you name it is, then I will take every
Lottery,
step to find it.
drugs, okay?
But you're not saying that the owners of Fat Boys have sold drugs.
But it's on their premises.
Okay.
And for the benefit of other council members, the new council members, I want to kind of give some background. First, I want to thank you, Mr. Lejeune, for appearing before the committee. I appreciate the efforts that are being made by Fat Boys to reduce the loitering and related criminal activity at this establishment. For some reason, unlawful individuals have been attracted to this location for several years and have created a public nuisance. During the 2021 approval process, similar problems had occurred, and denial of the license was recommended. As you mentioned, Step Mrs. Monique Menard, representing Fat Boys, came before the council, assured us that changes would be made, and the 2022 license was approved, I think in the month of December of 2021. However, her efforts only lasted a few months and the serious complaints continued, causing this council to recently deny the 2023 application. And Ms. Legere, we do have a list of all the complaints against this establishment, at this establishment, which included fights, threats, aggravated assault, attempted homicide, aggravated assault, disturbance, aggravated assault, open container, officer in need of assistance, disturbance, and other items. Those are the concerns. Which has created a public nuisance, a great burden on our police department. Although this business has reapplied, keep in mind that police reports need to indicate that this establishment is no longer placing an undue burden on our police department, and that the individuals who visit the premises no longer create a public nuisance to our city, which have included, as I mentioned, container consumption and the following, as I stated. It should be also known that when multiple officers are dispatched to this location for serious offenses, the rest of our city is less protected. And also, the nuisance creates problems for other business establishments whereby people want to avoid this area because of that element that's occurring there. So, in addition to the rights of these people's business and to operate, it's also adversely affecting the other businesses, not to mention, the parishioners at St. Teresa Catholic Church. So with that said, my suggestion is that the committee continue to table this application for 60 to 90 days and review the police reports at that time to confirm if the changes that are being made by the owner and representatives of Fat Boys are being effective. Because what we do, the committee reviews the complaints, and we take the establishments that are similar to one another and compare the complaints for each. If they're all about equal, we will approve the permit. But if one stands out significantly with problems, then that's the basis that we use for denial.
And I can appreciate that, Mr. Ford, especially that directly relates to the activities of the owners of Fat Boys and not necessarily a geographic region which may have lower socioeconomic or other, tendencies. I don't have, and I don't even really expect Chief Behavior to have how many, calls came from 3 or 4 blocks in any direction from that area. But that area, in addition to being the location of Fat Boys, has been known to have geographic criminal activity quite frequently. So, again, does it have to do with the actions of Fat Boys, or does it have to do with just the geographic vicinity? I can't fix the area, but I can assist in guiding my clients on what steps they should take to fix the problems that are directly attributed to you. I can't make them follow your recommendations. If they choose to take your recommendations and not follow them, then that's on them. My goal here is only to address the real and viable needs, public safety interests of Crowley and that area, the needs of the police department, and say, okay, we want to be active players in fixing this problem. Not trying to point any fingers, but we want to fix it. Tell us what we need to do to fix it so that we can earn the right to make a living, to earn the privilege to operate in the city of Crowley and in this particular area. That's all we're asking.
Sure, and keep in mind, we're only talking about the liquor license, not their occupational license, not the ability to sell other goods, just liquor. And also keep in mind that we've had similar problems in this geographic area where we have recommended denial. Those owners came back to the committee, indicated what changes they would do, and as I gave my 6-month update and review of the complaints in November, they are in relation to other businesses about equal on the complaints. It's just this location, which is closer to Parkinson Avenue. We also have an establishment right there at the corner of Western Avenue and West 2nd Street. And they don't have the problems there. They have very few. So when we talk about the geographic area, I don't think it's just something to do with the socioeconomic individuals in that particular neighborhood, I think that maybe the owners of fat bars should reach out to the other owners of the businesses that have improved these problems and find out what they've done to alleviate. Because we don't make recommendations. We simply look at the police reports and make a decision based on that.
Well, and again, generally speaking, there should, I think, be certain reasons for a denial of an application or the denial of the and so it doesn't have to be a line item of all the issues, but again, why are they being denied? Generically, problems in the area, I don't think is sufficient, because I can't just turn to my clients and say fix the problems in the area. And with my apologies to Mr. Mark and Mr. Wilbert, I am a little bit late to the party.
Yes.
I have done as much research as my old brain will allow in the past 2 hours so that I don't sound completely foolish. But again, I have I've lived in this town, and I've practiced criminal defense in this town, and I've worked with Chief Abear in this town. I know the problems are. I know what Fat Boys has been. It doesn't take, but so we're recognizing problems. It's just, let's fix it if we can. I mean, that's what they asked me to do. But not to try to circumvent the laws or to start litigation, but to help them fix it. And that's what we're here to do, is to try to fix it.
Yes.
Is there any way we can find out when was the license revoked?
Well, it was not revoked.
So they're still selling liquor now?
No, the liquor licenses are effective from January 1 to December 31. So they've been able to sell all the way through December 31. We looked at 4 days that they have not been able to sell. And the ordinance also indicates you cannot advertise or you cannot display any type of alcohol. And I think, Chief Faber, you had someone do a compliance check and there was no alcohol in the business. Correct. I think the only non-compliant was there's a Budweiser sign in the window that should be removed or covered up, displaying sales of alcohol according to the ordinance. So that we never revoked it. Do we have the right to revoke it? Yes, but it has not been revoked. It just has not been, the application has not, for 2023, it was denied. And there's a misconception, according to Mr. Reagan, the city attorney, about renewal. These licenses don't renew.
No.
They begin and they end, and a new license application is presented for consideration. Thank you.
And again, in the revised statutes, say that a renewal should be in the same form as an original application, as well as the denial. And so that's where I stand. We have the conflict, that is, they made an application to the state board. The state board is authorized to sell alcohol. The city council has, in their local authority, denied, which is creating a conflict in the statute and ordinance, which again, I don't want to have to address these issues. I just want to figure out the best way to advise my clients to move forward.
Sure, and I will say this, that if your client sees a loitering, sees illegal activity in a parking lot, I would advise him, when they call in to dispatch, the police department, to indicate who they are, and when the officer arrives, to let them know that the employees is calling or the owner is calling, and for that employee or owner to indicate who needs to be removed. And I think that if they are being proactive, and that's listed in the police report, that we will have more consideration on that. What the problem is when there's loitering out there for 3 hours, and this goes on, and the employee walks out, picks up litter in the parking lot, police never get a call, no indication that they're asking them to be removed from the parking lot to stop the loitering. That's another thing that needs to be addressed. But again, it's up to them. It's not a recommendation. It just
loitering has very different definitions and has been constitutionally challenged in certain arenas, which puts us in a different perspective. I agree, 3 hours is too long, but what is 2 minutes? What is 5 minutes? When is a visit
at the car with your buddy that you haven't seen in a couple of weeks become a legal issue, which prohibits the sale of alcohol. 3 hours with your six-pack on the corner, that's an issue. But again, that becomes a question of legality, that you're putting the owners of Fat Boys to have to make a split decision. Chief Air Bear, somebody's been loitering in my parking lot. How long, son? Well, for 5 minutes. Well, call me back when they've been there for 15. I don't think Chief Air Bear wants to have that conversation but they're still here after 25 minutes.
No,
They're still here after 35
I
minutes.
certainly agree, but I would say what's customary in that type of business. But again, legal issues, please refer to our city attorney to discuss that. We're not here to debate that with you, of course.
Well, I will, again, apologize to Mr. Martin, Mr. Wildridge for not reaching out to them directly. I will try to get a list of the items that, the reports that we can address, and then I will, with or without the recommendations of the council, I will make a proposal before making any other decisions.
We appreciate that.
Right.
Mr. Martin.
Okay. Okay, you're bringing up all type of legal, this and that, about what is considered laundering and what's not. You know, the eyes of the public, you know what laundering is? When you're sitting out there in the vehicle, you've been drinking, get out your vehicle, go in the store and get some more. Come out and you're drinking. All of a sudden, a fight break out. Next thing you know, you got 20 other people joining the melee, and nothing's being done. Okay?
I agree with you.
The other thing is, there's a park, not even 300 feet away from the establishment. Okay? It's called an inducement of privacy for the kids. Okay? Because parents don't want to bring their kids there because of, and I'm not saying it is what it is, but it is what it is. I feel bad to be lied to. That young lady stood right there. The councilwoman that was there, they'll tell you. This lady made all kind of promises. And I told her, go back on the record, I told her, I said, this is on you. Okay? This is on you. So, wait, if you don't mind, just let me finish. Now you expect me to bite that apple again? Only thing now, they have an attorney coming up and saying, well, we're going to do this, that, and the other. Okay? My trust was taken away then. One thing my father taught me a long time ago, he said, son, and it's an old saying, but it's a good saying, check it out before you check it out. Okay?
I think that they were in compliance as long as this young lady was there.
But
then she left.
So in other words, what you're saying, when she left, that means they didn't have to comply anymore. Is that what you're saying? She represented them, just like you were representing them. She came up here and she made a statement that she would handle. All right.
I think we've had all the discussion.
Yeah, well, I'm just letting you know.
I think that, he stands offered to meet with y'all and.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't want to meet. I mean, we didn't meet before this. Why should I meet after?
Thank you. Mr. Reggie.
Just one. So what you're asking is just to table it for 30 to 60 or 90 days, just to see if the calls come down.
Yes, right. If the number of calls and the severity of the calls is minimized by the efforts they're currently implementing.
That would give us something to work with.
Yes, so it remains tabled.
I want to make one statement, Brad. We have basically a new council, mayor, and the chief of police. Now, if they can enforce the law in a different manner than it was in the past and put this fire out, let's give them a chance. Let's give them those days and then come back and see what it is. Because we always in the past, and I come from the past, but we always would take the recommendation of the guy sitting over there that was the chief of police, because they're out there, they have all the information, we get it kind of secondhand, and if KP or whoever was there said, I recommend this, that's what we would go with, because they're out there and we're not.
And you bring up an excellent point, and my first 3 years on the council, 2.5, I felt the same way. If the chief signed off on the application, it's good. Then we became aware of our city attorney, Mr. Reagan, No, the chief is only looking at to investigate if the applicant has a criminal felony conviction, and nothing more. That it's up to the council, the committee and the council to make the decision to review
That
these.
is true though, but that's just like a lot of other things. He gives a recommendation, but we usually go with that.
Well, again,
not really.
Unless there are other circumstances that we need to be made aware of.
right, but what Chief Broussard basically indicated, he only looked at the background check, signed off, and that was it.
Well, then that's not doing his job.
Right, and Chief DeBear, certainly if you want to have more
This
input,
man
we would
might be doing
appreciate
his
that.
job. Give him a chance, is what I'm saying.
Sure, absolutely. I'm looking for every opportunity to keep people in business.
I'll definitely address our side. We lost 21 people from September to September.
I don't think you can. Hit it?
All right.
Tap it? No, you're not on.
Well,
Take Steve's,
all right.
turn yours off.
Some of y'all's was off? Y'all are? Okay, this one's working?
Just talk loud.
All right, that's no problem. All right, we got one that works.
Yes.
Okay, we lost 21 people in September to September. We currently, at that time, we had 22 that worked the road. So the officers were working 2 and 3 on the road every day. We've been calling in to try, we've been filling in and trying to staff as much as possible over the last year. Now I've been going, but I'm very much knowledge as to what's been going on. When you lose 21 people, you just can't hire somebody and throw them on the road. It takes months, 4 to 6 months before you can actually get them trained to where you cut them loose. So when you're working with 2 and 3 on the road, it's very hard to be proactive in the city. And I'll be coming to y'all later on in a few months to address some of these issues that the police department face. But if we were at full staff and had 5 and 6 people per shift, my goal is to have 6. We can be more proactive in these areas. And being more proactive in these areas, I'm sure will deter a lot of this stuff. When we get out there and really start enforcing those liquor laws like we should be doing. But because of the shortness, it's very hard to do it when you only have 2 and 3, and you have, between 700 and 1,000 calls to answer in a month. It's very hard to do it when you're very short-staffed like that. Currently, right now, there's 6 openings in the patrol division that we need to fill, and that does have a direct effect on operations of the department. And that's definitely some things I plan on addressing in the next couple of months. But if it answers some of your questions about, do I personally feel we can clean it up? Yes, but we can only do it if we're staffed correctly. And to be staffed correctly, we can't be losing the officers at the volume rate that we are. And I think fully staffed, we can definitely address these areas where I think those problems would be greatly reduced.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Ashley?
If you renew a license, does it have to go through December 31st?
If you approve it.
If
There's
you
no
approve
review.
it. Yes, if you approve it, does it have to
Yes.
go through December 31st?
Yes, an annual
Or
period.
if there's too many calls in March, you can revoke it?
You can revoke it, but it takes more of a process.
Okay? Because I don't think the people in St. Teresa's Park are coming from his establishment and getting drunk. They're getting drunk in the park. And there's a whole lot of other stores in town that have watering going on, such as Corky's. I go there quite a few times a week. They're not.
With all due respect, caucus is not the issue right here.
Oh, I understand.
And the other situation that you just brought up doesn't make any sense. I personally witnessed, okay, let's make it clear here. You just use a term that you know nothing about, okay? I witnessed what goes on, the walk between from that park to his establishment on a daily basis, okay? So you can make the assertion that, well, the alcohol came from elsewhere. Yes, that's a possibility. But I'm saying what I see, okay? And the fact of the matter is that they lied to this council, okay? They put all the emphasis on this young lady, and you heard what he said. Well, she left. So would that negate your responsibility to take care of your responsibility? That's what you just said. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm a pretty smart person, okay? He just said, well, when she left, they're not responsible because she left. This young lady represented them. I just want to make it clear to you, okay? There's no club bashing or snow bashing. What? The fact of the matter is, I feel that I've been betrayed because I was one of the ones. If we go back on the archives of the meeting, you're going to hear me tell this young lady, listen, we doing this on your word that you would clean this up. Well, the next thing I know, and Brad is right there, Brian's right there, she leaves, all hell breaks loose. Okay? So basically, what that told me was very simple. Well, she's gone, so we're not obligated to do anything. The promise was made by her. That's what I'm looking at. Now you come back to this council, and I'm just one vote. I'll make it clear. I'm not even on the committee, but I'm one vote. Okay? I see what's going on. Okay? I'm not trying to go by hearsay. I sit at certain distances and I watch. Okay? That walk from that park to his establishment and back. Constantly. Okay? So I just want to make it clear to the council members. I will not be fooled twice. Okay?
Thank you, Mr.
And that's me.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. Okay, I think we've had enough discussion. It's a discussion item. It's no action to be held on it.
Thank you,
Any
Mayor,
other items
Chief,
to come?
Council. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Any other items to come before the committee? And the committee recesses.
Public buildings, Mr. Wilridge.
Public Buildings Division, we had a forum. On the action item, there was none. On the discussion item, there was none, so we recessed.
If you don't, Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a statement.
Mr. Morton, Councilman Morton, like to make a statement.
Seems there's been some confusion with the last administration on the use of public buildings by an elected official. I was very disappointed. One of the things I wanted to do was to do a nice dinner for the citizens of Crowley. I never stated whether it was West Crowley, East Crowley, North Crowley, or South Crowley. I made the statement it was for the city of Crowley. Okay? Now, very in depth to things being done, I understand this, and everybody have their own opinion about things. But anytime the use of a public building for a public event does not fall on the purview of that council person renting the building. Okay? But that seemed to be the understanding that went through the last administration. And I'll be talking to Karen White over at the LMA, get some clarification on that, for the simple reason, when it's open to the public and there's no designated persons or what have you, no designated parts of the city, no designated designation, I feel that it's an obligation of the city to co-sponsor. That's just me. But to be turned down and told that, no, you can't do it because you're a council person and you can't use the building. You know, that was a slap in my face. And it hurt a lot of people because it was kind of hard for me to make them understand what happened. I just want to get that clarification, Mr. Mayor, whomever legal be, that we get some clarification on that. Because once again, when that building is open, if that building is daily open from 8 o'clock until 8 that night, any event that's there is open to the public. Okay? Shouldn't be designated as, well, you can't do that because you're a council person. The building is open. Okay? It's a public building. And unless a person designate that event for a designated person, place, or event, I'll just put it that way. Stuff like that needs to be looked upon by this council. And Mayor, I'd appreciate if you get some clarification on that. Because as long as I've been on this council and been in, I served on the other executive board many times. And I can tell you right now, that right there, it doesn't go that way. But I just want some clarification on that because we got a lot of people in this city that needs help. And, you know, it gets to a point where it's like you're trying to do a good thing, but people are holding you back from doing it. So, Mayor, I appreciate it. I know you're going to be busy these upcoming weeks or whatever, but please look into that.
Yes, sir. I will check on that and find out the ruling on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Public bills of recess. Insurance and personnel, Ms. Sandy Marks.
Good evening, everyone. I see we have a full committee here tonight. We have no action items. If there's any discussion, I'll open that now. I would like to say I did go to the department head, Ms. Julie Romero, and started my process on the paperwork and finding out the city Crowley policies and procedures and the employee policies, which I will be reviewing. Any input is appreciated. Also should request, if you have not started your own process, now would be a good time to go in to see her. Very efficient committee and department. So I'm here for any questions from those. Yes?
First of all, I'm glad that you gave, they were saying you give people theirs before their demise. But Ms. Romero has always been on top of her game, always. And one of the things that I'm going to ask you as chair of insurance and personnel is that we look into some of the city's employees.
Yes, sir.
Whether it's the fire department, police department, wastewater, and even some of them in public works, that we look at paying hazardous pay. Okay? For the simple reason, these people, whether male or female, put their life on the line. And with all due respect to all the other employees, we need to take care of those who take care of us. So I'm asking that I am on your committee.
Yes, sir.
And I would ask that that be one of the priorities that we look in. It's been talked about, but nothing has ever been done.
Well, I look very forward to reviewing the codes and with my expertise, working with the department head on what they, not only what they need, but what they would like to see in the wish list of improving their work environment.
I appreciate it. Thank you, ma'am.
Any more discussion?
Yes, I have a question. We have an annual insurance fair that's usually near the beginning of the year. Did she indicate when that date will be for?
No, she did not, but I will check that out. I'll be bringing my paperwork with her tomorrow.
Third week of March. All right.
Thank you.
Can I ask Julie a question? Can we find the one we got now? I'm just asking. She knows what I'm talking about.
Okay, inside joke.
Yeah.
If there's
that's good.
not any further discussion, the Insurance and Personnel Committee rests.
Thank you, ma'am. Community Economic Development, Ms. Kitty Shansom.
Good evening. We have a quorum. The entire committee is present. I would like to take this time to thank Sammy Reggie for being so very helpful in passing along information and making the transition very smooth. I'm happy to have him continuing on the committee as well. So there are no action items at this time. There are a few reports from some of our various entities and partners. So from the tourism director, Valerie asked me to mention that there is a Mardi Gras poster contest that is going on now. Posters can be dropped off to City Hall by January 13th, and there is no entry fee. So she's very anxious to have a number of entries for that. For Crowley Main Street, there was a meeting on December 20th. New board members were introduced at that time. Susie Webb, Jenny Henskins, Tracy Wertz, Christy Auger, and Gregory Troy Cormier. They recognized the outgoing board members for Crowley Main Street, Jeff Doré, LJ Thielen, Hattie Lawrence, Nancy Lower, and Connie John. And I know that all of these people have done a wonderful job moving that forward, and we're looking forward to continuing that progress. The Crowley Chamber of Commerce, the only thing that we need to mention at this point is the Farmers Appreciation Dinner, Thursday, January 12th. The social begins at 5:30. The dinner begins at 6:30. Tickets can be purchased at the chamber office, and we all know how important agriculture is to Crowley and to Acadia Parish. So this is a wonderful time to celebrate that and recognize it. And each of the council members, I think, have some information from the chamber in your packet. So you can find that. Crowley Garden Club. I don't see that there is a report from them, but as we're talking about Crowley Main Street, the Strategic Transformation Strategy Pilot Program is still going on. Main Street has received 113 responses on the community survey and 45 responses from the leaders survey. So that's a very good participation, and I know that they will be looking at those and deciding how to move forward from that. The Winter Louisiana Main Street Quarterly Meeting will be July 19th through the 20th in New Iberia. And there is a National Main Street meeting March 27th through 29th in Boston, Massachusetts. The West Crowley Beautification, according to Dr. Izora Proctor, Dr. Martin Luther King Week of Service will be going on with a trash cleanup and assisting the elderly with service projects. I'm certain that if anyone has questions, Dr. Proctor will be happy to answer those, and we thank you very much for that. That's all I have, unless anyone has any questions or discussion items to bring.
Make a motion
Okay, Stephanie.
Can we have Dr. Clark, Chief still here? Now, can you elaborate on the upcoming events, if you don't mind?
Not working? Oh, there it is. Certainly want to congratulate our Bishop Mayor and all of our city council women and men. It's so wonderful to say women. So great. I would like to say that we are always looking for opportunities to encourage and enhance the productivity, positive productivity of our youth in the community. Therefore, the West Crowley Beautification Club has joined forces with the National Association of University Women, and I see Tina is here, she's on that committee, along with PUSH, Pray Until Something Happens. And we are going to have a Martin Luther King Jr. youth musical on Sunday, January the 15th, 2023. All of you have flyers. I took the liberty to put a flyer at your place setting tonight, and where it would be, and of course the address. We're also doing that week encouraging our youth to do community service. That is to do some great things, because Dr. King was about serving people. And this is what we're encouraging our youth to do. And of course, if we encourage the youth, the adults will have to supervise, and they are engaged in it also. And they will be doing cleanup where you are planted, in other words. And clean up around your house, first of all. And then walk down the street and clean up, north, south, east, and west. And also, we are encouraging them to do some service project with elderly in our community. So it's a matter of enhancing the positive productivity of our youth, and at the same time, trying to fulfill the dream that Dr. King gave to us, and in the instance of together we can be the dream that he talked about. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you again for putting the West Crowley Community and Beautification Committee on your agenda. Appreciate it. Brad, we addressed that last time we were here, and it happened just like that. Thank you, appreciate you.
Thank you, Dr. Proctor. If there's no discussion,
Chair, I have one.
Okay, Brad.
One request. Last meeting, we also requested that the Historic District Committee be indicated on the agenda monthly. And we all know that these committees are being established right now, so just if we put the Historic District Committee.
Is there someone that is the right
Yes.
person for that?
Yes, we have someone that's.
So let me know who that is.
Right. Well, not yet, various appointments.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Yes, as of right now, historic districts meeting quarterly, and that's through clarity for it.
Okay.
So she'll have to put one together, but she's meeting quarterly.
Thank you so much for that.
Oh,
And going forward, if there's anything else, please feel free to contact us. We'll close out the Community and Economic Development Committee at this time.
Thank you, ma'am. Revenue and Finance, Mr. Dickey Lachile.
Okay, good evening. All members of the Revenue Finance Committee are present. We have no action items, and we have no discussion items. I move that the committee arrest.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Martin.
Yeah, I would like, once again, make a request that at our meetings, our regular meetings, not the committee meeting, but our regular meetings, well, probably both if we can, that we put a copy of our financial report out for the public. Therefore, we have discussed this, and through transparency, I think it's time, because this is going to be something new to me. As long as I've been on this council, I've never had a copy of financial reports. So it'd be a first time for not only me, but the general public as well. If that can happen, I really would appreciate it.
Yes, Ms. Martin and council and citizens, give us some time.
Yeah.
We will absolutely be more than happy to be as transparent as the computers and the paperwork will print up. I want to, I do want to say a little something that the past couple of days, I've been in office for 2 days so far, 2 official business days, and they've been, I've absolutely enjoyed it. It's been interesting, and there's a lot to do. So be patient with us. We are working together. The council members and I have truly been communicating with each other. Every council member and myself communicates with each other as often as we feel we need to. They'll call me at any time, and so there's a great deal of communication going on. There's a lot of excitement in the city. I hear from the citizens. There's a lot of excitement within the employees of the city. Everyone is excited about moving forward and working together. But I cannot go without stressing to give us some time. to be able to gather many things. The transition was a little rocky, but we will absolutely move forward, and I promise you, transparency is going to be on the top of that list. So thank you for mentioning that. Anyone else have anything? Thank y'all for coming out, the public out there. We'll see y'all next week.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
As soon as he's done.